Read the adaptation of the short story Rip Van Winkle, then answer questions 31 through 35. Rip Van Winkle. And here's a picture. I can't make out that caption here, but we'll see what this says. Rip Van Winkle lived in a small village nestled in the Catskill Mountains. He was a kind, good-natured fellow. He was content and well loved by everyone except his wife. Rip loved to fish, hunt, talk with his friends at the inn, and do errands for others. Unfortunately, he did nothing to keep his own farm in order. Rip's fields were full of weeds, his fences were falling down, and his children's clothes were ragged. When his wife nagged him to fix things, Rip shrugged and left the house. One day, while rambling through the mountainside, Rip stopped to admire the view. Suddenly, he heard someone call his name. A short stranger was climbing towards him. Although the fellow wore several pairs of short pants, one over the other, he looked harmless. He motioned for Rip to follow him. Thinking that the man needed help, Rip followed. Silently, the man led Rip to a hollow in the mountains. People dressed in short pants like the man's were playing a game like bowling. They seemed to be enjoying themselves, but everyone looked very serious and didn't say a word. The thunder of the balls striking the pins echoed through the mountains. When they saw Rip, the people stopped playing and offered him a drink. Rip drank with the odd-looking strangers in complete silence. One taste led to another, and then another. Soon the unusual drink overpowered Rip's senses. He fell into a sleep as deep as the sea. When Rip awoke, he was back where he had first seen the little man. The sun was shining brightly. Rip realized that he had slept there all night. What possible excuse could he give his wife? Still, he was so hungry that he decided to head to the village and face her anger. Rip got up with some difficulty and went home. As he entered the village, he saw people and rows of houses that he had never seen before. When he reached his house, it was empty, and the roof had fallen in. Rip called for his wife and children. All he heard was silence. Rip searched for familiar faces in the village, but only succeeded in drawing a crowd of strangers. Rip asked about his friends and learned that many of them had died. How could that be? In desperation, he asked, "Does nobody here know Rip Van Winkle?" A young woman with a child spoke up. "That was my father's name, but he went into the hills 20 years ago and has not been heard of since." Rip asked, "And what about your mother?" The young woman replied, "She died recently." Rip could contain himself no longer. "I am your father," he burst out. He told everyone that he had slept for 20 years, thinking it was one night. People shook their heads, thinking that he had lost his mind. Rip went to live with his daughter and her family. He soon became a village favorite again. He lounged around and told his story to anyone who would listen. Some believed it was true, while others never believed his amazing tale. Okay. Which theme best fits the passage? Everything changes with time. Lazy people are not well liked. People have short memories. or people rarely listen to the elderly. This is A. This story is about the passage of 20 years and how things changed with time. Which of the following sentences contains a simile? A short stranger was climbing toward him. One taste led to another, and then another. The thunder of the balls striking the pins echoed through the mountains. Or he fell into a sleep as deep as the sea. A simile uses like or as. As deep as the sea. What inference can you make about why Rip's wife did not love him? She was frustrated that he neglected his home and family. She thought he lied too much. She was embarrassed by how poorly he treated his friends, or she was angry that he left for 20 years. She was mad because he neglected his home and family. And which two details support this idea? He was a kind, good-natured fellow. Rip's fields were full of weeds, his fences were falling down, and his children's clothes were ragged. When his wife nagged him to fix things, Rip shrugged and left the house. Or Rip drank with the odd-looking strangers in complete silence. He did not take care of his home and family. Number 34. What is the best summary of the passage? We're looking for just right. A man goes into the mountains. He meets some strange people and then decides to take a nap. This is too small. Doesn't tell me anything about his past or what he saw when he woke up. A man proves that he is a good friend to others. However, he is a bad husband and father. Again, this is too small. It's true, but it doesn't talk about his 20-year nap and what he saw when he woke up. Before returning home, a man has an adventure in the mountains. He meets some strange people. It's true, but it's too narrow. It doesn't tell about his history and after his nap. A man who neglects his family falls asleep after drinking with strangers. He awakens 20 years later to find his daughter grown and his wife dead. That is the one that is just right. Number 35. Read the sentence. Rip could contain himself no longer. What does the word contain mean? To speak out, to hear himself, to hold inside, or to wake up. Contain is to hold inside. The answer is C. Which best supports that answer? The words burst out mean the opposite of contain. That's true. The words told everyone mean the same as contain. That's false. Those are opposite actions. A context clue is that he has slept for 20 years. That's nothing to do with speaking. It's not related. A context clue is that people think he had lost his mind. Neither of those are related to containing himself. So the answer is A. He could not contain himself, so he burst out to tell his story. I'm going to stop this video and we'll pick up with the next one.